2005, in testing year 2005, we actually saw about 13,500 candidates took the GMAT exam, whereas now in testing year 2009, last year, we actually saw 30,000 candidates take the GMAT exam. So there's been tremendous increase from that perspective. And their ability levels are very good as well. In fact, the Indian MBA student would be proud to sort of say that their GMAT scores are about 23 points above the average global GMAT scores.
Wow. That is indeed very positive news. Ashok, tell me as well, you know, the schools in India, the ISBs, the Indian School of Business, or the IIMs have established international standards, both in terms of quality as well as rankings on the Financial Times, for instance. And so is there a trend of more Indian students applying to those schools within India and staying domestically? And likewise, what do you see in China?
We've actually noticed an increase in the number of programs in India as well as China that are starting to accept the GMAT as an admissions criterion. And the reason they do that is that they want to be considered on par with some of the best institutions in the world. And accepting students who've taken the GMAT exam gives them the type of quality that they want to best represent their brand. So that's why you're seeing this huge increase, not just in number of test takers, but also in the number of schools internationally, and specifically in India and China, that are using the GMAT as an admissions criterion. And in India specifically, we are also seeing that the government is playing a role a little bit in sort of promoting management education. For example, in the higher education sector, the government has looked at opening up the markets to foreign universities and colleges to set up campuses. In the past, universities like Stanford and Harvard have conducted executive education programs in India. And all of that is really to utilize this vast wealth of intellectual capital that resides in India as well as China. So that growth is going to continue.
Now, if we shift from the geography to a student profile, what percentage of students and applicants are women? And is this a global uptrend?
You ask a very good question, because we've actually started seeing an increase in the number of women over the last few years who started taking the GMAT. In fact, last year we actually topped 100,000 women who actually took the GMAT exam. And that's an increase of about 36% from the previous years. And I think there are two reasons for that, both of them interrelated. I think primarily corporations have realized the value that women bring to their organizations, and so there are a lot more opportunities for women in the corporate sector. And that has made business schools realize that they need to attract more women to give them the skills necessary to succeed in the corporate environment. And so business schools themselves have been attracting more women, and that's why we're seeing more applications and more GMAT tests.
And I guess another dimension of diversity is the background that people come from. I know that certainly in India, most of the MBA applicants tend to be engineers. You and I both have engineering degrees from India. We both have our MBAs, albeit a generation apart. So how do you see that shift taking place?
You're right. Amongst Indian students, there are a lot of engineers who take the GMAT exam. But we're starting to see people from diverse backgrounds who want to take the GMAT and to specifically pursue an MBA degree. So whether you're interested in a career in banking or are interested in setting up a not-for-profit organization, maybe you're an artist and you want to set up your own art gallery.
Right.
You still need certain basic business skills, whether it's, trying to sort of secure a loan to help you sort of set up your own art gallery. That will always stand you in good stead in the future. And so no matter what your background, whether your background is in fine arts or in humanities or in engineering or in finance, there always are going to be opportunities for you, and a business degree will certainly help you utilize those opportunities.
Ashok, you probably know more about the inner workings of the GMAT test and how it works and what makes it tick. what's coming down the road? Can you share any of those insights?
Well, changes to the GMAT have been part and parcel of my life for these last few months. The GMAT, as you know, has been on a road of continuous evolution. We're currently pursuing the 10th generation of the test, and we always go back to the faculty at business schools to tell us what are some new skills that they would like to see measured on the GMAT exam, because they want candidates coming into their classroom to possess those skills. What we found is that in our most recent survey of faculty that was administered in 2009, they identified some new skills that they'd like candidates to have. For example, the ability to assimilate information from multiple sources, whether it's a reading passage or graphs or tables, in order to solve complex problems. And so we've now sort of gotten these new skills from the faculty. We're developing questions and are going to go through a rigorous process of piloting them and then getting ready to launch the GMAT in June of 2012.
Ashok, I understand you're the proud father of a new baby girl. So do you think, looking down the road, she's going to do her MBA?
Well, given that she's 6 weeks old, she's probably got a little while longer to go before she considers a graduate management degree. But my hope for the future is that, and my belief in the future is that, I think a graduate management degree will always be valued because it gives an individual a lot of skill sets that are appreciated in all walks of life. And I think if the time comes to it and she considers a graduate management degree as a career choice, then I'd certainly hope that that's something that she'd pursue if that interests her.
Thank you, Ashok, for sharing your valuable insights with us.
Thank you so much for having me.